Hey, we're back. Good to see you. It is a pleasure. It is a pleasure. Back in cloudy old England. Yes, no, it was great. It was nice. It was hot. It was lovely, relaxed, chilled, all the things that you want to have in a holiday. Not that I totally switched off, honestly, but I did switch off enough things to feel like it was a holiday, for sure. Oh, thank you, Mehmet. I hope a good view. Right, so basically, some time ago, I think I built this. I'm sure I built it. I had a branch, everything. I cannot, for the life of me, now find it. So I only feel like somehow, it's either somehow here, but I don't think it is. It's not there. Or maybe it's in Nuxt framework. Maybe that's the place it could be. It's possible it could be one of these old branches. Do you know that? That's the most likely. But I don't think so. I think somehow I've just managed to lose this entirely. Which, is okay. It's not a problem to lose something. It's always better the next time you write it, right? Oh, thank you for... I'm glad you missed me. That's very, very nice. I think we can delete that. Is there something I never opened a pull request for? See? None of this. The new search is really good. I do like it. I do use it all the time, particularly when I want full text code search. I just don't think it's going to be there. I think we're just going to build it from scratch. I don't think it's going to take us that long. Okay, I think we're gonna do this, particularly because once you've done it before, like I think we should be able to do that, right? Hey, thank you. It was good. It was good. So sorry. It's here. I need to fix the thing, the command. But it is this one is the keyboard. It's nice. I like it. And it is extremely heavy. I've got the one with the knob. There's a knob there. That. It's very satisfying to change the volume or whatever else you have it mapped to. Okay, let's do it. And this time, parallel async data. It is, okay, so here's our sort of brief, which I've written, so I feel like I should be able to do this. So a strategy option for use async data, and basically lazy becomes a particular kind of strategy, but we also have parallel and we have blocking. So, okay, so to start with, it's pretty straightforward, oops, and pm build stub. Ooh. I thought I had done this, but clearly not. Let's see. We should be able to do this. Okay. And let's add node. Try this. Beautiful. Okay. Now let's try that again. Tom, you are due here for a pint, that's for sure. France is not that far, and Paris is just one 45-minute flight away, so Okay, so let's see. Here we go. Here we go. We have our options, which server, lazy. Right, we want a new option, a strategy option, which can either be lazy or parallel or blocking. And we might change the name of that. I'm sorry you got overwhelmed. Hey, Joaquin, hello. Maybe in a moment we'll do some watch fixes. Okay, so we've got our strategy, and I think that's probably going to need to be pulled in as well into, do I have to do the same in fetch? I think, yeah, I need to pull it out like this and pass it in like this. In use fetch. Do I have to do the same in lazy fetch? No. Okay. I have totally. What's the matter, Mehmet? Is there a problem with the video quality? But I was in Paris to see Anthony and Eduardo last month. So next time we should totally do something. So the 720 is probably was me trying to fix the slowness of the output. I'll look at that next time. Okay, 1080p. I will make a note and see what I can do, but I don't think I can change it while we are in stream. Right, okay, so what we're trying to do here is we have a new strategy in, I'll just start with use async data and we can update fetch in a moment. So we currently support this thing called, I'll just build a quick sample app, okay. So what we have is our, maybe we want to have some kind of pages, maybe some nested pages. So we'll have, say, a slug and then another slug. And I think what we want to happen is that when we're, we want to have a parent and a child. So, and when we're making a transfer, so parent, child, we'll call it. And we also want to have a parent.view. I'm just setting up a nested pages structure here. So what's going to happen is this is going to be sort of parent page, and it's going to have, it's going to be a parent. We'll make it h1. And then it's going to have a child. So next page, this is going to load in this child bit here. And then the child is going to be, so we'll make it an h2. And it doesn't have any child, so we'll just say child content. And if you set this up like this, playground, we should have, in a second, it's not far off in terms of like what the local pages structure looks like. Oh, but it's like parent child. So we've got our thing, and you see the parent page loads, the child page loads. There we are. And let's see if we do some kind of async data fetching. So if we had a sort of start and end, or let's do it, I guess let's do it the other way around, right? So that, and we'll do the same in parent. Okay, and then we'll do some kind of async something. Fen, hello. I love your handle. So if we did, const data is await use async data, and we're going to have something which is going to be like a slow handler, just so we can see what's going on. I'm going to resolve it with foo bar, and then we're going to do that after 500 milliseconds. And is that right? Looks about fair enough. And we'll just stick that in here. And let's see, does that work? Okay, so parent page start, parent page end. We'll do the same in the child page here. And we'll stick it in a little paragraph here. Okay, so we've got some data loading, and you see it's a waterfall. So what's happening is that the parent page is logging. Oh yes, X on X. Yeah, everyone come follow me on X. It's a weird brand change. I don't know what they're thinking, but I mean I don't mind. It's not. I don't have any attachment to the Twitter name. It can be called whatever it wants, but it's a strange choice. Ali, hello. So we're talking about waterfalls, data loading waterfalls. Now, if you change this, if we don't await it like that, then this is what happens. Oh, sorry, this is also the first load. We probably want to stick in some like some links so we can transition from one page to another page. So we'll just put a little Nuxt link and we'll go to like sort of 1 or A, and then A, B. So we're not changing the top. And then we will want to do the same with a different, we'll call this B. There we go. So we have a little sort of set of links. And we probably want to do something like, well, I think we can definitely do it here. Okay. And right. So let's see. So if we're on AB, you see we have got our waterfall, and then obviously a simpler waterfall, and then a full waterfall. So it's all happening as we expect. Oh, and nothing is changing, obviously. We should probably make it look a little bit different. And we'll make this, rather than resolving with bong, we'll resolve with root params child. And we'll do the same with the parent. Oops. And we'll resolve with the parent. But we'll make the parent bong and pop. And what was the child? Bing. Oh. Ding. We wanted ding. The parent can be ding. These are the important things. So, what we should see here. Hey, nice to see you, John. Okay, so we see. Oh, we're still on the wrong route, I guess. This is the real important stuff, right? There we go. So we're navigating and stuff's updating, and it's doing that very, very nicely. We fixed some issues with nested roots. So this is doing what we want. Like it's sort of in sync and switching around, but there is this waterfall. And ideally what we would like is to be able to have the child and the parent page both requesting at the same time on route navigation. Todd, hello, nice to see you. Yeah, it's been a long time, but I've been seeing amazing stuff. That was a great photo you posted of yourself the other day. I'm still not sure whether it was real or not, or it was too good. I'm saying. Okay, so we want to have this sort of parallel data loading support. So what we want is to be able to pull in when the strategy is parallel. We want to have a slightly different behavior. So I think we're going to do that with our option here. So strategy parallel. Now, for some reason, I'm not getting any types. So let's just see if I have to reload my window. Cedric, hello. Cedric, or... By the way, I recently discovered this. So restarting the TypeScript server is only available when you have a TypeScript file open. How long did it take me to realize that? A very, very long time. So you can't restart the TypeScript server here. And if you try, it will frustrate you because it is just not around. That is unexpected and a pain, I know. But it makes sense once you think about it, I guess. So, yeah. I hope that saves you some pain. Let's see. Speaks somebody who knows what he is talking about. Okay, so for whatever reason, I had to restart my VS Code. So, okay, we can pass this parallel strategy. Now, when we get the parallel strategy, we need to do something different with it. So, and we probably also will need to normalize lazy into a new strategy, which was just a bit of a chore. So the main thing is, what do we want to happen if the strategy is parallel? So at the moment we have this behavior. What we do is we return a promise. Yeah. So basically we have this initial fetch that happens. That is if it is, yeah. But this is basically the typical blocking. Oh, that's really kind, Cedric. Thank you. This is the typical blocking behavior. So we perform the refresh, which is here. And what it does is it creates a promise, and the promise is added to the Nuxt async data promises. And these Nuxt async data promises are awaited. So we do this. How do we do it? I'm not sure we do await them. We might need to await them. This is very interesting. So in our parent component, we shouldn't be... this is what we need to do. Hey, Paul. Nice to see you. Anton. Nice to see you. Okay. Let's see. Here we are. I think. Yeah. Dong Bing. Where's my parent? content. I'm not returning anything. Okay. Right. What's going on? So I feel I still have done something wrong. I think I'm going to stick this in our resolve function. So I have a promise, and then let's stick it here. Basically, what happens with use async data returns a merged promise and object, which means you can await it, but you don't have to await it. It's both together. So let's see what's happening now. So we see the parent page is starting, the child page is starting, then the child page is ending. And we don't, for some reason, see the parent page ending, which we should. Oh, because it's the initial load. So we'll see it on navigation. So if we head here, I guess. Sorry, try again. Head here. So you see the parent page starting, child page starting, ending, parent page ending. So in other words, we're getting the parallel loading behavior out of the box, which is good. This might have gotten a lot simpler. This was a lot harder previously, but I think the async data fixes that we've been merging have actually just made this work unexpectedly. We might not need to document this as a separate strategy. We might just need to tidy it up a little bit. Okay, so we're going to want to copy this in the child so I can actually see that the behavior is the same, and it's Bing and child. There we go. Let's try it again. So we have our start, start, end, end. Start, start, end, end. And then if I do a... that's interesting. No, it's working properly. Okay, cool. So basically we simply need... Let's change the timeout a little bit so it's a little bit different. So our child has a little bit longer timeout. Let's try it once more. Oh, is that the page we're on? Okay, so they are changing alongside each other. Yeah, this is fine. They're changing along. The reason the parent end doesn't run on initial load is that this function doesn't run on initial load. So this function is only run when the data is fetched, and it's fetched on the server on the initial load. So it's not refetched on the client. So you don't get the console log in that case. The setup function runs, but the data fetcher function within async data doesn't rerun. And that's by design. We don't want it running. That's half the point of use async data. But it's a very important thing that people need to understand, is that this is why you shouldn't have side effects from inside a use async data function, because it's not guaranteed to run. The whole point is that we don't run it if we don't need to. So if you have something like, initialize user interface and it's inside the use async data function, it won't run on client side on initial load. And if you have a fully static site, it will never run. Only on the server when it's generated. So that's a common gotcha. Okay, so what we need to do here, so at the moment it's 1, 2, let's make it a little faster by speeding up the parent, maybe make it 100, okay. So we can go there, and we're seeing sort of 1, 2 changes. And what we want to do is, if we have this parallel pattern, we should block route navigation so that they resolve in parallel. And we can probably also do something where we block route navigation full stop if they are blocking. So if we have a strategy of blocking, that is. Okay. So the thing here is that our initial fetch we have no way of awaiting the promise generically. And actually, we probably want to do that. So we are pushing stuff to the Nuxt async data promises, but we're not awaiting them. So I think we simply need to add this to our code somewhere. When we're making page transitions, we need to await all promises, and they're exposed globally. So I think we could probably just do that. Within the suspense. Or within a root middleware, maybe? So parallel data loading, there are lots of ways of getting parallel data loading. We're talking about a way of making it easier for people to reason about. So you can get parallel data loading working in lots of different ways, but a typical potential foot gun is that you have a parent page or a page that loads some data, and then based on that data, it then loads a component, which itself loads more data. And so you have this kind of waterfall that can take place. You can design your website so it doesn't do that. But I'm trying to think about ways that we can basically make it easy for people to opt in to parallel data loading. Because at the moment, if you opt into parallel data loading, which you can do just by not awaiting the data fetch, and then you get this. You get the sort of, it loads in parallel, but out of sync, as in it doesn't block the page, navigates, and then in fact, I'll try and make this a little bit clearer. Okay. So basically, this is our root. And the moment I click this, it changes. And then, so basically this is the same as lazy. This is the same as having a lazy behavior, pretty much. That things change and nothing is blocking anywhere. So the root changes, and then when the data comes, it updates. So this is parallel. But basically, I think there's an opportunity for something in between this kind of lazy behavior, where everything just comes in as needed, and fully blocking, which results in a waterfall type behavior. So fully blocking has data fetching composables block everything. They block both transition from one page to another page, and they block the rendering of other components. This approach here is lazy, and so it doesn't block anything. It neither blocks the transition from one route to another route, nor does it block the loading of other pages. So the in-between scenario is we do want them to be happening at the same time. So we want the components all still to be executing, but what we don't want is for the route to change until all of the components have changed, all of the async data functions have run successfully. So basically, we have this Nuxt async data promises object, which has all these promises in it. So what we need to do is simply await all of them at the right point. So simply, because it's not necessarily that simple. So we have, let's see. Yeah, and this is particularly because of server and client. So this is already handled by Nuxt. So if you hard reload this page, it arrives with everything fully resolved automatically, done by use async data out of the box. Hey Tony, Nice to see you. But what we need to do is do this for client-side navigation as well. And I don't know if that is also used for client-side navigation. Yeah, you can, like it probably would do that as well. So what we can do, I think we have a couple of options to explore. So one is we could try doing it within a middleware, like hook into the router. But I don't think that will work for us because actually we want the router to finish middleware and start executing the next page. So we probably have to do it as a final step in a page component. So previously, I think I did it a little bit like this. Let's see if we can make this work. Something like that. Should await all of them, and then basically we would have a render function which returns nothing. So let's see if that would do it for us. So is that going to block our navigation? Dong bong. Interesting. It does block the navigation. It doesn't block the rendering of the component, which may be something that we'll have to look at. Tony, yeah, it was great. It was really nice, chilled, relaxed, hot. So it was perfect. Yeah, really good. Okay. So what is next? Right. So this is now blocking our page transition because you can see the root is updating at the same state as the child. But the parent is loading. The reason is because the parent is keyed. Because it's not actually changing the parent component. So it's happening within it. I don't think that's a bug in the implementation. I think that is simply that. Exactly. I think that's simply that we need to set a root key, perhaps. In other words, we need to basically tell Nuxt that to treat this as a separate thing. So no, didn't work. Probably what's going on. Why is that? It's because this is being keyed to the. Let's try that. There we go. Okay. So now everything is nicely in sync. It's running in parallel, but it is blocking the navigation. This is just the setup of this particular example. So having an index page like that would not render the child page. It would basically only render that if there is no child. So in other words, if we were navigating to like just dong or just pop, then that would be that would be what that displays. Okay, so what we want to do is do this automatically. So this resolve pending promises component is fine, but it has to be injected, I think, before the end of every before the end of every page component, or only the last one? I think probably it has to be injected in the end of every page component which is running, which probably means we can do it like this. Okay. So if we have a resolve pending promises component, which is this, we'll make a defined component to give some better types. Then we are going to inject this in every page under suspense. And it actually needs to be, probably needs to be alongside the component. So in root provider, we might need to do this in root provider instead. So if we have our root provider, which is here, and we have our resolve pending promises thing, we'll import our use Nuxt app. And then we need to return it here, I guess, like this. Let's try that instead. Let's see if that works, right? Okay, because this is a little bit hacky. We're injecting this within Nuxt page, which means we'll now get a fragment loaded. McPizza, nice to see you. Okay, it's working. So we have parallel data loading. So the child and parent page are running at the same time, but we're resolving everything before we block navigation. Cool. I had a great time in Portugal. Thank you. It was good. It was hot. It was fun. So the resolve component, basically, if view, okay. So basically, there are two things going on there. So under the hood, Vue has a registry of components. And when you do sort of app.component, you register a component to this global registry. And resolve component is Vue's way of looking it up. So it lets you pass the string in, component name string, and then it returns the object of the component that you want to use. This runs under the hood in any component. So if you were to write here, you will see that under the hood, if I do something like test, what's going to happen is that we are going to resolve that component like this. In order to look up that in the Vue registry. Now, in this case, it doesn't exist, so it's actually going to throw us a warning, and it's not going to hydrate properly or whatever. Now, what we do in Nuxt is we use that to look up the component. We actually transform it. So we look for this pattern, resolve component, and we replace it with an import to the actual component in your project. So we'll change this into something along the lines of that will become import testing test from components testing test.vue. And so that is what we do with resolve component. We transform it into an actual import. So when you pass, and now we need to do that because we don't include all the components in your build. For good reason, because that would create an enormous build. So we actually only want to import the ones that are used. So we need you either to use that expression resolve component, or we need you to import them specifically, like import testing test from components with a hash. That would work as well. Or we need you to just use it like in the template. And we can also transform that. But all of that is needed in order to ensure that it's at its most performant. But that's what's going on. Okay, so I'm happy with this. Let's see there is also a JS bundle per page, exactly, which is lazily imported. So if you have 100 pages, it's not any greater in terms of client-side JavaScript than one page, because each page is treated as a separate bundle. It's a boundary, and it will only import that actually when you have a link to that component on a page. So it will prefetch it, so it's nice and fast, but it won't do anything up to that point. Okay, so I think this resolve pending promises thing works fine. Let's see what the page looks like under the hood. So I think the good news, actually, is that this is not adding fragments, I think, because it's not rendering anything. It's simply resolving the setup function and not adding fragments. So if we look at this HTML, so that's the version with the root provider. Now, if I remove it and just turn the, if we get rid of that and that, okay, so now we're not doing anything there at all. So this should go back to its old behavior, which is async. And if we copy the HTML as well, let's see, is it different? I think that is actually not different. I think that looks to me like the same content, it's just formatted. Okay, that's great. So we're not even changing any, I was worried we might be inserting like little fragment comments, but we're not. Okay, so this is actually really straightforwardly simple, I think. Good, cool. Great. Okay. So I think basically the main thing that we've done here, we still need to update the options, the strategy options, and we also need to make sure that we are only awaiting the blocking ones. So in other words, we don't want to await lazy ones and parallel promises, not lazy ones. But that is, I think, all we need to do when we're done with this. Do you want me to finish this up, or we can do something else and I'll finish this up another time? What do you think? Votes. Can I do a poll? Is there polls? Poll. Yes. Finish now? Yes. Later. Okay. I'm starting a poll. I've never done this thing before. I'll still do something. Like, we'll do something different if we don't finish it now. Okay, everyone's saying yes. I think this is cool. Right, okay. I'm going to do more polls, but not a minute. It's too long. Right, okay. So here are a couple. Here's the chores. This is the stuff that that you opted in for. So sorry about that. So we currently have this options lazy, and we check it down there. So instead we're going to have this options strategy, and in general that will give us flexibility to do new things down the line. Like we'd have other different strategies. So instead of checking options lazy, we're going to say options strategy equals lazy, right? So options strategy is lazy. And do we have any other options lazy? No. Okay, so in that case, we'll say options strategy is options strategy, or options lazy, lazy, or blocking. In other words, that's the current default. Okay, that feels right. Okay, so now we're not using lazy, and we're going to deprecate it. Deprecated. Use strategy lazy. Great. So now I think that's probably all we need. Yeah. And we'll check. We probably have to do the same in use lazy async data, because we're now going to want to pass the in not as a lazy true, but strategy lazy, like that. And we're going to want to do the same in fetch, where we, at the moment, this is fine because we're just passing it across, but we do have a bit where we pass in lazy, and here we'll just say strategy lazy. Okay. Now I think this is all relatively simple and straightforward, and probably merits, for the sake of cleanliness, its own commit. So I'll just commit this. So refactor, add strategy, and deprecate lazy. Okay, that's good. Let's just confirm I've not pulled in anything I didn't mean to pull in. That's good. Okay. Now what we need to do is make sure in async data that we have a way of knowing whether there is a particular strategy associated with each promise. And so I think one way of doing that would be to do something like key.strategy is options strategy. Something like that. Or we can just directly set it on the promise. We can directly set it on the promise, might be easier. Now, how can we do that? We can say, we probably just need to as any it. Exactly. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Tom. You immediately have spotted the fatal flaw in this particular action. Okay. So we can basically set the strategy on the promise, and then we want to filter it out in our root provider. So what we want to do is something like filter p.p strategy doesn't equal lazy. So I think we basic, and we'll do this, which means it should be fine if there is no strategy set. Okay, so this should basically wait for the everything but the lazy promises. So if we do that, let's see, is that going to work for us? So if we just need to check it will still, yeah, everything is transitioning in the right way at the moment. Tom, what do you mean no? Have we done something awful? Oh yes. Behold the any. I'm gonna take a screenshot of that and send it to you, just for fun, just to. There you go. It will be a gift on a later occasion. Okay, so I should frame it, put it on the wall as any. Right. Okay. So that's going to await for everything that isn't. What do you want? Unknown. That's also going to give me a red squiggly line. So I can do promise any and strategy lazy or blocking or what's the other one? Parallel. Okay, so we could do that. Actually, we will. Don't worry. We will do this. We will do it when we type Nuxt async data promises. So we can just do it like this. And then we can just do this. Happier? Better? But now it's complaining. So we now have an issue where I wonder if we could do it like this. Oh, I see we want to cancel previous promise. I think we do cancel them. I think we probably could do something like this to get the right typing. What have I done? Lazy blocking parallel or undefined. I see. Well, that's an easy fix. Ta-da! It's not being cast. Look, Tom, it's working. Because it knows object assign is smart. It's not beautiful though. Like, we might actually better do this, right? This might be a nicer thing. Is that nicer? Feels nicer. There's less wrapped around the entirety of that thing. Okay, so yes, they were good. Thank you very much. It was nice. It was nice to be out in the heat. Okay. Okay, this is all good, I think. I think this is solved. So basically we will say block route navigation with parallel blocking promises. Ta-da! So I think the next thing, it's totally true. Like so I basically two things. One is you can offset the carbon for your journeys. Having said that, the cost is so inexpensive to travel from one place to another. Okay, cool. So I think basically this needs a test suite. And I hate these ones because the test suite is basically what we want to do is we have to make sure, we have to make sure that like they change in synchrony. So we have, like you have to do assertions that sort of things are not changing like out of sync. And that is not fun because particularly, so we're using Playwright for this kind of browser testing. And Playwright is all about trying to stop there being flakiness. Whereas I want to detect flakiness. I don't want Playwright to resolve it for me. So it's very tricky. We have to, if anyone knows a better way of doing this, please come and refactor my test suite. But I'm using stuff like wait for function, and actually just sort of trying to grab it at the exact moment when something is changed, like this. Like I'm using query selector to try and get just the moment when this ID appears in the DOM, and grab the HTML in that moment, and then make an assertion on it. It's really tricky. It's not fun. So where are you based? Need more word. Are you in Canada or the US or Australia? I'm trying to think of big countries. Russia? I can take an 8-hour train ride and still be in my same country. Although I don't think that's quite the flex that the 5-hour flight is. Okay, so this needs a test suite. Now, I'm not going to make you sit and watch me do a Playwright test suite when I am here. Okay. Night trains are nice, aren't they? It's like the dream kind of travel. It's being able to be traveling while you are asleep. And I think the same is true of ferries. Like when you were on a ferry and run with context is safe to use, and I need to document it, or you can document it if you want. But it is definitely, this is how we are making sure that you can run asynchronous requests out of sync with the main Nuxt instance. Now we have a potential native async context support, which will be really, really nice when this lands. We currently have some issues with the PR, but native async context will be wonderful. Will really be wonderful because you won't have to do any of this. It will just magically work. But it will still be fine if you were doing it. So don't worry. Go ahead and use run with context. Okay, this. Good, thank you. Strategy option for use async data and use fetch, which can be set to blocking current default behavior, lazy, same as lazy true, which I have deprecated in favor of explicit strategy lazy, and a new parallel option which will ensure the promise is resolved before changing the route, but allows it to be run parallel with other data fetching requests. In order for parallel strategy to work, the use async data composable should not be awaited. This PR also changes behavior when async data blocking is awaited for the root changes. I regard this as a bug fix. Okay, I think that's good for me. I'll mark it as a draft PR because we still need to add the tests. So okay, done. Okay, that was fun. Now, no guarantee that's going to pass, but we'll discard those files and head on to some new pastures. Before I pick from my list of exciting things to do, does anyone have any requests? A bug that you want to be fixed or a feature that you want to be built? Because now is your opportunity. I will only wait so long before grabbing something. Okay, let me grab something then. Oh, the best way to make an API request on client only. You are going to love this because it's going to be very simple. This is the best way to make a request on client only. You can simply do const data is use async data, whatever, or use fetch or anything, and then just pass client server false. And that will not run on the server, it will only run on the client side. Defining layout middleware in Nuxt 3 is, well, basically, layouts are not within the routing system at all now in Nuxt 3. So in Nuxt 2, layouts were exclusively defined around pages, whereas in Nuxt 3, you can use them anywhere in your app. So currently, there's no concept of middleware for layouts. So you need to implement it in a different way. This is a feature we might implement. There's an issue tracking it. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it. I think maybe this one. Yeah, I think so. I think here I give an example. So you can do this, but basically, yeah, basically that is. That's the issue to follow, which I think is a pretty good solution for now. I don't even know which issue that is. What issue is this? So you should extend at Nuxt schema. So Nuxt extending like the Nuxt package should only be in the top level of your thing. So try at Nuxt schema and see if that works. I will look at this, but for the moment, if you're encountering that, report it as a bug to the module. So in this case, pages is a core Nuxt module, so that is a bug. So the thing that runs the module setup is this. This module is the thing that is taking that long to run, and it's probably about scanning stuff in your project, but it might not be. So if it's taking that long, it's a bug. It's not something you have to debug. I mean, obviously you can. That would be great. But if you can just provide a reproduction, I'll dive into that because it's something happening here. Something in this module is taking that long, and that is a long time. 17 seconds to pass any project is a long time. It's probably about traversing the paths of your pages directory or something like that. But let me know. I'd love to dive into that. So do you have Nuxt schema as a layer dependency? Anyway, Drew, I will look at the issue. I mean, I guess I could look at it now. Drew, are you the same person as David Koppes here? Or are you just... So we could try it together. Okay. That's a very interesting find. Okay. I see these are two entirely separate projects. So that is, yeah, that's interesting. Okay. So we have app and npmi, and we have Nuxt layer and npmi. Yeah. So this is the kind of thing. So this Nuxt kit. Oh wait, where is that? Oh, I see. We have to install the Nuxt layer first. Okay, so we've got our Nuxt layer, and then we have our app. Okay, and to reproduce the bug, we run the type check. You're saying any of these reproduce the error in the app directory. And it's saying from its perspective, and I'm saying you should use @Nuxt schema. Works fine. Use @Nuxt schema. The reason being that @Nuxt schema is a dependency of your layer. It should be. But yeah, I think that's the solution. Solves it here. Add a. It should. Basically, in order for you to augment a layer, you have to have the dependency installed. You should also add Nuxt schema as a dependency of your layer, I think. Or maybe that's the point. But anyway, let's see. Test it out. Thank you. That's very nice of you to say. Oops. Don't want you to see my schedule. I have to put the bins out today. Okay, so anything else to do here? Right. Now, Ali gave a good suggestion. Exactly. I've just become Portuguese, deep inside. Inside, I am saying obrigado. But externally, I am saying thank you. suggested that we do something with regard to creating a Nuxt module. So that will certainly be on a future day. But is there anything else that would be interesting to tackle now? Enhancement. Okay, here are some things that we could do. If you're up for it, exactly. Oh, that'll tell you I've spent some time with Tom. Let's see. Oh, here's a feature I thought would be quite a nice idea. So at the moment, there's a number of things. Hey, Carlos. Good to see you. Let's just check that the reproduction is provided. The issue here is that this is just not like I think this is to do with the fact that a lot of inference is happening with fetch. So I think it would be safer to do this. And basically just say, yeah, the issue is I think this. Like, I don't think this is a Nuxt issue. I think this is how this type is being used or abused. What if we just did... so fetch is defined as this. Delete that. I don't think this is a bug. This is just trying to create a generic version of something which is heavy on inference. So we'll say does he want to make it with There does seem to be an issue here with the method, but I think that is also being handled upstream. Sorry, I'm getting lost in this. This is the problem with type fixes like this. They are very in your head. I find it very difficult to talk about them. Right, I'm going back. I've got distracted by this, I feel. Let's go back to an issue in Nuxt. Oh, this was the thing that I was doing. Okay, so basically, this is a suggestion. I think that would be quite a nice thing. So at the moment, we have a couple of ways of configuring your Vite configuration, which is that you can basically configure stuff under the Vite key in your Nuxt config here. But for example, if you have a chunk name, like this, I'm not sure that's right. Vite chunk, and I think it is open. It's a good example. This is ridiculous. Vite. This is crazy. That. Component name visible in chunk names. Okay, so basically, if you want to configure your chunk file names, then you could do something like this. So you can do that, but it's actually going to fail. It seems it breaks the server. This is very common that people want to configure some part of the client or the server Vite config, but not both. And it's almost impossible to do that in your Nuxt config. Instead, you have to use a hook. And we have hooks. So we have the client config. So you can do Vite extend config, and it receives the config, and also a context object which says, is this server config? And then if is server, you can then do things like server dot config dot build dot rollup options dot output equals. But the problem with this is that actually you now need to sort of initialize every the pigeon every step along the way. So you need to sort of check that rollup options is defined, and then output can be an array or a single thing, and actually it becomes very difficult to type correctly. And I think there's a much easier way of doing it. So this is what I think we could do. So we have the Vite config here, type. I think we can add like client and server sub keys. So we should be able to do have a client like that and server. So we should be able to do this. Client or server that. Let's see what that does for us. So this should expose in my playground in a second no, it's fully failed. I suspect something to do with how it's built this. Okay, where's my schema? No, that is correct. Oh, but it needs to be this is, if there's a better way of writing it. I guess I could just say or undefined, but somehow this feels better. Oh yeah, the pigeon outside. Goodness, yes it is. But it's very quiet for me, so the mic is clearly picking it up. Right, so this should now say client server. That's fine. So now we should be able to have Oh, this is actually simpler than I was even thinking, because we don't use this directly here. We use this within use this directly in here. Sorry. For goodness sake, where is it? Nuxt schema config. It's like options. Config here, maybe? Yeah. Okay, so basically this is where we stick it in. Like that. Let's try that one more time. Now we should be able to do something like client and pass in our client build here. That feels nicer to me than having to do it in a hook. So what this should then mean we are able to do is in our Vite client config, we can pass in our merge config. These are overrides. So basically what we want is Nuxt options Vite client and server, like this. I think we can pass in any number of things to merge config, but let me just check. Defaults, overrides. Oh no, we can't. We could use another Vite merge config. So something like it's a shame that we can't just pass it infinitely, but here we go. I don't think we have to do the same here. Okay, typo is still there, but let's see if it works. Maxi build playground. Yeah, maybe it is actually the wrong thing to do it this way. Well, anyway, let's just check. Did this in fact correctly? So we're still getting our full path for the server chunk and for the client chunk. Yeah, we're getting just hashes. Okay, so it's working fine. So now what we want to be able to do is make sure it's typed properly when it's accessed from Nuxt. So I think if we go back to our Vite config here and restore those options, what's the problem with it? There was some issue when we... Oh, it was probably... Okay. The issue is we are passing to input config. Vite does not exist in input config. Why is that? Let's see. Is this now typed? It is typed as any. Interesting. Okay, there's something wrong that's happened here then. We are... You're doing something wrong. I do use it, yes. Oh. It is actually fine. It's not an issue. It was just my VS Code was having a problem. Okay, so this is fine. So no, it's not. Oh, I see. Beautiful. Okay, I think this is a nice quality of life feature personally. I do actually have NearVim installed after your recommendation. Let's see. Oh, it's Nuxt.js. I've got a sort of lazy NVim. I think you recommended it. It's actually quite nice. Like it's pretty beautiful just sort of using this. So I have been known to do a little bit here and there. Okay, so here we've got our config. The only thing I guess is that we probably don't want to pass in client and server to Vite itself. So we probably want to somehow delete it. Oh, doesn't seem to be there. Let's just check. Yeah, so it is present. So I think we might want to do something like in our top level Vite, we're going to want to extract It's not great though. Maybe just I think that will actually fall foul of our lint rules. Well, let's just see. No, it actually seems to be working fine. Okay, so let's do that. So that should mean now that we don't have any. Let's just confirm that. Beautiful. Okay. Okay. Great, that's a nice little simple enhancement. What's gone wrong with this? Okay, multiple things, all in dev mode, which is interesting. I bet this is made, aha, okay, that's the issue. So it is actually rendering a fragment. That's the problem. Well, I'm glad that caught it. It's something I can look at. There may be another way of solving it. Actually, I think there is another way of solving it, certainly, which is simply it can wrap the page rather than being a sibling. Let's pull that up and just try that. Well, basically, it is confusing to be having to configure Vite. If there's anything where you think Nuxt should be doing it automatically for you, I would be very up for exploring how that can be done, as long as people still have the ability to configure everything themselves if they need to. But we can explore that. But yeah, please do raise an issue with any questions you have. Or basically things where you think Nuxt should have done it. It would have been nice if Nuxt could have done it for you. And not everything Nuxt can do. But if you think this is complex to be configuring Vite, then I'd like Nuxt to be able to do it for you, basically. What are we doing? This is in our shared in here, and basically we are returning both, but we should probably use something like this. Okay, I think this should work. Props node, and oh no, that won't work because it will do it first. It will implement that's not going to work, is it? So what's a better way of doing this? So we need to render the vnode and then this, but we need this not to. Okay, let's see what failed, and that should tell us what we can properly handle, right? So what failed was the, it will give me something I can test on locally. So which fixture was it? It was the, should enable spammer, that's fine. That one, or actually it looks like even index. Okay, Nuxt dev test fixtures basic. Jillian, hello, nice to see you. Yeah. Okay, it's to do with a transition. That is a fair point, Mehmet. A fair point, well made, and I have missed you making it. Okay, let's do it. We'll take a 5-minute break and resume in a moment. And maybe inspiration will strike while I make myself a cup of tea. I will see you all in a jiffy. Okay. I am back. And no inspiration struck, to be fair. I didn't give it a lot of opportunity to strike. I think I would need to have a shower or something like that. That is probably the optimal inspiration striking. Another suspense. Or do you mean we could interact? So basically we are consuming this here. So we're using a suspense. So this is what's going on. We have a tree of transition, and under the transition is suspense. And under the transition is keep alive if that's configured, and then suspense. And then we have our root provider, which basically just renders the page. No, you've not missed anything. We only said that inspiration did not strike, and Julian had an idea, and this will probably be helpful to talk out loud. If anyone has an idea, please say, because I feel like surely we must be able to resolve this together. Everything working with this? Yes, good, excellent. Means I will ask for a review from Anthony and Puya. Okay, so basically we have this sort of structure, and the root provider is just directly rendering the page. So it's the same thing. It's just providing a key. Now the thing is that we are also rendering this pending promises component, and that pending promises component currently we're sort of rendering in an array here. So it returns null. So it returns an empty node. So there is nothing there. Now the reason it has to be executed after the page. Ooh, how do you merge two refs? I, to be honest, have not given that much thought. No, it just handles merging class, style, and listeners. Doesn't look like it specifically handles refs. I would not be surprised if there's no documentation about merging refs, basically. I wouldn't be surprised if you just have a singular ref, but you can see. Okay, so the problem is this is now rendering not a single element. It's rendering an array of elements. But we can't move it up because then it won't block. It will render and resolve all the promises and then render the page, which will initiate a whole lot of promises. So it won't do anything for us. Somehow adding it within the page would probably be a good approach. I mean, it would probably solve it, what happens when we call page finish? Yeah, it's not going to do it. I wonder if it's possible simply to execute it. So, it won't be good enough. Like, I know that. I know this isn't going to work, but I'm just curious to see what will happen. I'm just going to do this in the playground. Okay, so we'll have a page index, and we'll have another page about, and we're just going to navigate from one to the other. So and we're going to have some async data. And I just want to see that this blocks the navigation, right? That's all, because there's nothing, we're not blocking, we're not awaiting it, we're just executing it. And so if it's working correctly, it will block the navigation. Okay, so if we have this page, we should be able to click about. Oh no, it's not linked to about, it's linked to the home page. It's very disturbing. Right, let's try that again. So it's not blocking the navigation, just executing the vnode, which is of course what you would expect, because we're not doing anything with the vnode, we're just creating it. And obviously if we were to get rid of this bit, it will work. Oops, did that not work? Yeah, now it blocks. But it is rendering an array rather than a single thing. So what is this? As in, can I can I inject a child? Is there any chance I can do that? Can I somehow add it as a slot? This must be terrible. This must be really, really terrible. Yes, it is terrible. Oops, what have I done? What's going wrong there? Oh, is it the logging? Oh, I see. Okay, it's not the, let's try this again. take a break from this and have a look at something else. Okay, so let's fix a bug while we're at it. Joaquin, are you still here? Do you still want to do this watch bug, or shall we resolve it? The bug is there. Okay, and you're not going to make a PR. I don't want to do this if you've got a PR like on your computer that you're about to submit. It's totally up to you. Okay, you're on it. You're on it. Okay, I will assign you to that, and I will not touch it. Okay, let's look at another bug. Weird characters after exiting Nuxt. No, I don't think there's an open issue on that. There was an issue someone filed about a process manager, a node process manager, and Nuxt didn't restore but only when you were running this particular process manager in Node. So not an issue that I thought was actually really a Nuxt one, but no, there's no issue of that. Intermittently. It's the kind of thing I would wonder is that really an issue with Nuxt? But for sure. Okay, this person is okay. They have sorry, this isn't a bug. It's still, I think it's still pending triage. Code Sandbox is not working that well for us these days. Okay. So we have a root rule. We're going to not pre-render the user page. Oops. And we also need an index, I guess. And okay. Okay, so we're pre-rendering the playground. We're not pre-rendering test as expected. We can let's just do this. I think we actually need to put the pre-render at the end. Okay, so we are going to run that command. And, okay, if we hit localhost 3000 user, yeah, it's coming back with the code. And it's not redirecting. So I think all the config is the same. So the root rules are the bit that's needed, and then the pre-render page, he has test, but I have user. I don't think there's anything that's different here. I think it's to do with his server, for what it's worth. I think it's to do with his Nginx server, not Nuxt. Okay. Okay, we have this one. Vite import scripts, and we need to return a Vite script, but it's returning a page. Okay, let's try that. That seems like an interesting one to tackle. So what do we have here? Okay, it doesn't look like we have to have any special configuration, which is great. We can have, I'm going to replicate it in here. We're going to need a worker.js. And we need to have an app.view that does something with it. Okay, and this should be sufficient in and of itself to reproduce the issue that is being described here, which is to do with web workers. So if I run dev, I wonder if this is only a dev issue. We can see. Yes, as in it is not working in dev. Let's see if it works when built. I suspect it works. It's my guess. Yeah, it works fine when built. It's just in development mode that it does not work. And is there, in fact, such a worker? Yeah, there is a worker. Okay, good. But this is not being run by it. Oh yeah, it is. It's working fine. Okay, so this works fine when built. It's in development mode that this is an issue. Okay. Which means that the problem is the import. So there's what? Oh, that's my Okay, that's an interesting question. It might be a thing. Okay, Vite.env is... I wonder if we need to explicitly specify this. So Nuxt, basically what happens is that... Let's see how Vite is set up, like what it's doing with this. So if we open up Vite itself and have a look at Vite.env, okay, so it's just another thing like Vite client. Okay, so let's see what we do with Vite client. If it's as simple as this, I will laugh. Okay, so let's try that and that. No, it's not good. That would have been embarrassingly simple. So, okay, so we basically are having a request come in somewhere to Vite something. Okay, Vite middleware. Yeah. And we can log it. Just to show what kind of things are coming in. So we refresh that page and we should see well, that's weird. Why is it not coming in? Why are we not seeing anything? That's strange. Okay, yeah, there we go. Okay, I don't know why that was. Okay, so we're seeing Vite env come in. We should see Vite client. Okay, interesting. So we're seeing Nuxt Vite client come in, but for some reason we're not seeing Vite. And yes, we are seeing Nuxt Vite env come in. Let's try that again. Okay. So for some reason, we are... Is it possible that this is a Vite bug? Okay, let's see. Could it be? So we have the client public path, and what does Vite do with that? We join the config base. Yeah, that's what we would want. I don't think that should be required. Env public path. Maybe it is needed. Okay. Yeah. I think it might be as simple as that. Okay, let's just do a really quick patch. pm patch Vite. And we are going to, can I do that? Open folder. We're going to want to change this, so grep RHL. That's the kind of thing that we're doing. We should be doing this in env public path. think we want, therefore, this. And we'll drop that and that. Okay. Oh, rats. Is it that? I think that was it. You all still around? You with me? Okay, so I think so I think we've patched this, which feels a bit weird, but I don't think we need to add this to the manifest. I think it should be enough just to do that patch. And let's see if that's going to work for us. This also might be totally the wrong approach. So let's just see. It works. Okay, I think it's a Vite bug. That's fun though. So let's just quickly fork Vite. You're there, Mehmet. Okay, so I think that's basically what we want to do. Okay, worker base. So let's say fix prepend config base to worker. Okay, that should be good, I think. Okay, let's push that up. And raise an issue. And this is the issue to resolve. I hear a voice. Looks like we also have an upstream one here. We'll link that. Okay, let's see. Hopefully the test pass. I really should have probably tested it locally first, right? Or at least installed. Hello. 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 Neddy. Look, there you are. You're on the screen. Yeah.
I want mommy.
You want mummy?
So I tried about mommy where I fell. I fell with a little playground.
Oh, did you fall?
And you were crying for mommy and you were sad, but now Ned is happy again.
Are you happy again? Oh, I'm glad.
Oh.
Are we going over backwards?
I was crying out for mommy to come into car. What is this?
Oh, that's the coal stone.
And more on
You
it.
can draw with it, but you have to be very careful what you draw on. So not the wall or not the floor, but you can draw on paper.
No, you can't. Can I draw outside sign with this?
Yes, you can draw outside on the stone of the driveway. Do you want to try that?
But Mom mustn't know, because you put it right in the office.
Well, not the wall outside, not the light wall.
No, not the
Also
wall,
not the door frame.
but the driveway. At the front door, you could draw on that.
Papa,
1 second, team.
We were going to make some ice pops with some berries and yogurt.
Ice pops with berries and yogurt? Sounds amazing. Just all for me.
Yeah, and Ned won't have any of them, of course.
No.
can I eat them?
No, Daddy's going to eat all of them.
You can have. I think
Lu
you can have.
Lu can't eat them.
No?
Don't, pow!
Only if you say I can eat them, Neddy. If you say I can, then I'll have one. But otherwise I won't.
Only have one.
One? Just
one.
one.
Raspberry.
And you have
raspberry.
5.
5.
See you later, Ned. Okay. Has that given enough, for any sort of boredom? Okay. It's semantic. Oh, the lint is failing. Right, okay, come on. Lint. Do we have a fix? Can I fix it? Lint fix, please. Format. Lint. That's weird. That's surely not. Do I have to build it first? think we could also give them the context that this is also what's being done with the client public path. So okay, so it's not working with the lint. Oh, it's the prettier that's not working. Okay, yeah. Okay, so that seems fine. At least there might be some issues that we can handle when things fail. Right, what next? Again, this is an opportunity. You always have opportunities to suggest things that we should look at. Oh, there's an important bug. Are there other important ones? Oh, PNPM support without shamefully hoist. If it reassures you, I have a local sustain branch called Nuxt shameful. And it has commits. Or no, it probably just has. It has the stuff that I'm working on that. So it's not that I've not forgotten this. This is something absolutely we want. But hey, there's no reason we couldn't look at it today, I guess. So the problem is it's quite involved. But a couple of things. Basically, what I tend to do is work on this for a bit, improve support, and then merge like back into the main branch, so it's not too separated from the current thing. The main thing is we need to have a way of resolving right now imports into templates. So, for example, a module like I have a module Nuxt sanity. It depends on sanity. So it injects a template which imports from the module's dependency, but that's not the user's dependency in the project, it's the module's dependency. So we have to be able to resolve it through into the module's dependency. And so there are a couple of ways of basically handling this. But one way or another, we have to be able to do that. We have to be able to resolve it. So I've been just debugging. I have an approach that I'm hoping to solve, that will solve this issue. And I don't exactly remember how far down the line I got. Let's just see if there's something else that I can distract myself from. What is this? Oh, that's I am delighted to hear that. That would be really nice. Thank you. Hey, hello. Nice to see you. I think long time no see, basically with everybody, because I have been off afar. Right, where are we doing? What are we doing here? Okay, I think first I need to stash everything or commit it. And then rebase. Okay, so this is the same as the main branch, except that this is like one step. This is actually enabling Shamefully Hoist on Nuxt monorepo itself. So this doesn't guarantee support for Shamefully Hoist in Nuxt projects, but it will surface issues. And I would very happily merge this sooner if we can basically surface issues within Nuxt monorepo itself, because we should not require Shamefully Hoisting. Like that should always work, but if we can avoid it, then that would be a better option. So the and a lot already works, I've got to say, and hopefully it should if you're trying it. I've got a couple of projects which don't have Shamefully Hoist, and you just have to manually list dependencies. Okay, so we've got a. Let's run our bundle test. Just build the playground, say. Okay. Okay, so that works fine. We can build a minimal playground. Let's build something more complicated. This is more complicated. Modules need to specify their own dependencies because they're packages on npm. So, and the way I'm attempting to solve this issue is by, we'll rerun this in a second, but it seems, did that actually work? Yeah, that seems to have worked. That's weird. Hey, hello, welcome. Vtest run bundle. So the way that like the thing that I'm trying right now is to basically resolve the an ID from the directory that requires it. So if a module has injected a Thank you. That's really kind. If a module has injected a template from its runtime directory, then it needs to can resolve it from the module. And as a second stage, yeah. Okay, this is fine. This isn't changing the client build size. That's the key first thing. It's changing the server size because it's inlining unhead. But actually, inlining unhead is not the wrong thing to do in this case, I think. Because I think, add it to our transpile array. So we should be inlining it. Thank you, Kada. This is very nice of you all to subscribe. So basically we are using externality, which is a module that will get a little bit more attention, I think, to resolve the module. From here, from Nuxt. Package time, let's try that instead. Okay, you can see that there's obviously quite a lot of stuff that I've been doing that is sort of cluttering up the thing here. Oh, sorry, Iris. What was your question? Your question was, is there an example of how to use async data with Pinia? The error pending and refresh pieces of it. And the answer is I don't know where I would point you off the top of my head, but I don't think it can be that complicated. I'm sure there must be examples of that. Maybe raise an issue on the Pinia repository, just asking for some documentation on that if that's missing, because Pinia is compatible. Andre, hello. Because Pinia is compatible with Nuxt, so I think it would be a reasonable thing to document it. And if anybody knows, I think I wouldn't raise maybe an issue because Eduardo will close it if there's no reproduction. But certainly if you could sort of maybe open a discussion or something to try and get sort of examples of code from other people. I think it should be. I don't think it should be that. I think you should be able to do that. It shouldn't be a problem. Okay. What I don't know is whether this works with what's it called? With Webpack. So let's try that. Oh, and I also don't know whether this works in dev mode. This is the okay, that's weird. This doesn't seem to be an issue with the... Oh. Is this caused by that? No. It's a different thing, clearly. Ah, it's probably something like... It's probably an issue importing ES builds in Webpack because of the lack, because of the fact that it's shamefully hoist. This is not something I imagined. I was thinking about, but let's see. We have ES build loader, which we're importing, and it's clearly struggling to run. This is called arc, and here is an invite code if you want. Sorry, forgive the auto copied bit, but the thing should give you the access. It's nice, like it's super minimal. It also now has a toolbar on top, which blends in with the page you're on. So that's the version of the current page. I think so. I'm really waiting for it to support Android. That would be a killer thing for me. Oh, Linux would be good. Okay, good. This is working, I think. No, one of the build and test is failing. Interesting. I don't know whether that is just flaky or not, but I'm guessing it's flaky. That's my feel. Okay. So this is I will confess to you that I just Googled DSA in order to answer your question, which may answer your question. So data structures and algorithms, how important? So I think in my sort of expectation, I think the most important thing is clear thinking and logic. So I have no particular background in data structures and algorithms at all. I did not study computer science. I studied law at university. I studied law. It was all about reading jurisprudence and case law and understanding what it meant, and then arguing about it. I was very involved in debate in school, into literature. I loved calculus, mathematics, physics, physics less. Mathematical reasoning. I liked sort of formal logic, that kind of thing. All of that, I think, was great. I loved it. Taught me how to think. Obviously, I don't know what I'm missing. I did study C++ in school, like in high school. Did a class on that, which I enjoyed. Introduction to Computer Science. There wasn't anything about algorithms or data structures there. But in my own experience, I think if you're thinking clearly about things, you can easily pick up what you need to know about data structures down the line. It's less important, I think. But equally, I think data structures and algorithms could be a way of helping you learn to think. but I think it's the thinking bit which is the important thing. That's my take. I don't know if that's helpful at all or answers your question at all. Okay, what do you mean by setting the Git folder on VS Code? What do you mean by that? I find, by the way, that ChatGPT is very, very good at answering questions like, what does this acronym mean? Because if you Google any three-letter acronym, you would see so much that's unrelated. When I searched DSA, the top result was the Democratic Socialists of America. Obviously, I realized that it couldn't be that. And so I sort of looked down until I started seeing more results. But sometimes you don't see results at all and so ChatGPT is excellent at that, saying, what does this mean? And here's the context. And it can answer the question for you. What are all these heads? I don't understand what's going on. People are reacting with heads. I don't know. What are you saying? Is this data structures and algorithm response? Is this ChatGPT? Is this something that I should be doing with Webpack? I don't know. But I'm puzzled and confused. A funny emoji. It's a funny emoji. So we will, I don't know. I will take it as a positive emoji. I will say there is so much that I do not know about a lot of things, probably. Thank you. That's very nice of you to say. What I'm going to do here is check whether there are normally flaky tests. I think not. I think it might be a bug in my PR. That's what I'm wondering about. Well, let's see. It might be a good idea to finish. Because I think there's just a little bit of hither and thither on this. Because what are we actually doing? We're tinkering with the something I think is missing in Bridge. Honestly, I think the thing I need to do is get a first release candidate up there. So back to you, Andre. Is there anything you think is missing in Bridge from actually having this out as a release candidate? Anthony is amazing. Really is great. I wish I knew Chinese just in order to watch his streams, honestly. I would be very happy with that. Okay, so first module. Okay, let's just take a break from Webpack. Let's see if the test fixtures actually work apart from Webpack. I'm not expecting they will. Oh, by the way, for everyone who's interested, I've been working on a little blog article on server components. Like some people have had some very useful questions in, oh, for goodness sake. Some very useful questions in Twitter. So, but this is basically, and there's more stuff coming. So I want to shout you out, Julian, and I haven't done that yet, so it will come. So basically, this is the sort of guide to server components, very basic version that's up there at the moment in draft. But one of the things I added is the show server components outlines button, which basically highlights all the server components on my website. So you can see the entire article is a server component, the footer is a server component, and then other things like the feed, like the content of the users page, the content of the talks. In fact, embarrassingly a lot. Like these are separate server components. These are separate server components. So I thought that was quite fun. Is there anything else that you think would be a useful, like, interactive feature to sort of see how server components are being used on my website? Just say, and I will totally implement it. Ah, I like it. That's a good idea. I like everything that Josh Como puts out. He is just a phenomenal designer and develop. Like it, the way that his design and development work together is great. This is, I made the mistake because I'm running this on my computer. That's what I shouldn't be running a test suite while also trying to stream. Cancel. The GitHub button. So believe it or not, my website has login and authentication. Close. Okay, close. Stop. So if you click that button, you will log into my website. It will take you to GitHub to OAuth to authenticate. And if you're a sponsor, you get a little star. Otherwise, you'll just get an image. And then there are some little Easter eggs hidden about my site for sponsors. So they're nothing much. And if you have any ideas, I just want to say thank you, basically. So like you can tell me what to build next. And I think there are one or two other things too. And it says thank you to you. But yes, that's what it is. And you click it again and you'll be logged out. So that's that. It's very minimal. I keep on thinking there might be some other neat things to be able to sort of unlock. But I don't see why you shouldn't have a little authentication implementation. Until recently, I rolled my own JWTs on that, but just switched it across to the Nuxt session storage, which is so much simpler. And it just works on workers, which rolled my own JWT you know, it works with Node, but implementing JWTs on Cloudflare is totally different. This is a real pain. So this is a lot nicer. I'm going to have to run this when I'm off stream, but it's very positive in terms of what it looks like is passing with this implementation for Shamefully Hoist. So I think I might do a sort of Vite only version and try and figure out what's going wrong with Webpack. That is a bit of an issue. And we have to figure out what's going wrong there. Hopefully we can get this merged sooner rather than later. Well, I mean, this is basically well, I mean, let's try it. Okay, so this plugin. Obviously, I haven't done any more with it. This is obviously working in the monorepo, which is a bit different from an actual Nuxt project, but it's all within the Nuxt package. So we can actually just do this. We're going to pack it into a tarball, so we get a very close resemblance to the actual thing that we want to do. And in another window, I'm going to start a new Nuxt project. Shame test, we can call it. But before it installs its dependencies, I'm going to kill it and remove the .npmrc. So this is it will now be not shamefully hoisted. And now let's just install the edge no, let's just install it. But we now have this tarball, which we can pull in here. Actually, I should have just waited. And we'll install it with that. So this is a sort of live version of what we've just coded. Oh, and one thing we didn't test was development mode. Just FYI. Okay, let's just check, can we build it? Great, glad you like it. Okay, we just built a Nuxt project without Shamefully Hoist. Now, it's a little bit more complicated if we use View Router. So let's try that. Yeah, not so good. Or rather, like, this might be a simple fix. Oh, this is a simple fix. I just need to go back and do it. So basically we have this. So My cat is not in here right now, but I can see if they are located close by. I have located a cat, but the cat is asleep. And I did not feel like picking it up. But Gulliver is the cat that's closest to my office right now. Right, okay. Packed it, and now let's install it. Okay, let's see if this works. Quentin, that is a nice name. This is not quite right. It should. It should. Do I need to pack it? Well, I need to build it every time. And I want to avoid any issues associated with referring to external files. So packing is by far the safest way to sort of make it as close as possible to a real project. Okay. That seems to have worked. So we now have view router support. So I've not installed any extra dependencies. Package.json is still just Nuxt. And let's just check that that works. It's working. What we haven't tried is dev mode. And this is the one that I feel is most likely not to work. So let's see. Okay, so it's also not working, but it's working somewhat. So the server is rendering it, but we can't resolve optimized depths because we've installed things in optimized depths that are not present in the actual project. So what we would need to do is add view and view router. Can ignore that. Global is not defined. Interesting. Global. That feels like an issue with optimizing the It's definitely something to investigate. It's to do with the fact I think that we're optimizing. That's why. That's why. It's because we've resolved the we've resolved view router in Node. I think we might just say that people have to install view router view and view router might be required. That might be required, actually. View anyway is something I'm thinking about making an explicit requirement of the starter. So you have a view dependency, a Nuxt dependency. Because that is often required as a peer dependency. And it's important that view is deduplicated, and it's probably important that the user has their own dependency of it rather than just Nuxt requiring it. So if I just retry that, no, it's nice to meet you. And yeah, have a good day. I think I'm probably just about to wrap up anyway. I know I've said that before, but I think I will push this so we at least have a branch that's tracking it. Webpack doesn't yet work, so we'll have to fix that. But even if this is Vite specific at the moment, that's still better than nothing. Come on. Don't know why it's gone so slow. Anyway, it's been fun. Thank you everybody for joining. I think you up for a raid? We can go join Primogen. And this won't be the last time. I'm going, if anyone's in Berlin, I'll be there on Wednesday. I'm heading there on Wednesday for the We Are Developers World Congress, which should be fun. But yeah, let me know if you're there because it'd be great to meet up. What am I thinking? Yeah, just thank you again. And I will set up a raid for the Primogen. Thank you very much. No, it's been fun. It's been fun. And it is good to be back. So, good stuff. Let's go. Take him down.